Welcome to the Reinvention, another episode of the Reinvention Show. We are really, really glad that you're here. I'm Sherri Sutton, and I am the co-host of the Reinvention Show with Dr. Nadia Zucombayeva. And so you may be wondering, where is Nadia? Nadia is in New York City. She is speaking at the National Speakers Association and hosting our first Reinvention Rendezvous this weekend, tomorrow, in New York City. So she's there busy making the preparations and getting everything ready. And when she's finished in New York, she will be traveling to Orlando, Florida, where she will be joining me at the Association for Talent Development, the ATD 2022 Conference and Expo. And she'll be speaking on Sunday and doing a book signing. So I know some of you will be joining us in New York or in Orlando, and we'll be really excited to meet you in person. And for those of you that can't join us, do not worry. We will be taking lots of pictures to share with you, and maybe we'll even go live to share the experience with you. So for anyone who is new to the Reinvention Show, what we do here is we come together to share how we live in today's disruptive and uncertain world. We learn tools and techniques to not only survive, but thrive in chaos. And what you will find is that this is a place where we share our best practices. We might ask some tough questions. We share our epic fails and our great successes, and we bring you amazing guests. So before I introduce today's guest, I wonder if you could share where you're joining us from. One of the things that we really love about the Reinvention Academy and the Reinvention Show and our whole Reinvention community is that it's so diverse, and we're able to join with people all over the world to really get a great sense of where we are. So as I am looking for those comments, I see that we have someone joining us from France, from Slovenia. So it's great to see you here. And I want to introduce today's guest, who's from Montreal, Canada. And today's guest is one of my favorite people. She really is. She is somebody that you probably know, you may be acquainted with from a lot of different things that you're doing. And hello from Belarus. It's great to see you. And her name, as many of you could probably guess, is Sonia di Maulo. So I'm going to bring Sonia up here with me. Welcome, Sonia. It's great to see you, and welcome to the show.
Thank you, Sherri. It's so great to be here.
Well, I have to tell you, when I was thinking about interviewing you, I had so many questions. I was like, how am I going to ask her all of my questions? I only have 30 minutes. And so when I thought of my most pressing question, this is what I would like you to share with us today. I wanted you to share why you said yes. I often think about this because, and for those of you listening, I want to make sure that you realize what Sonia said yes to. But basically what happened was Nadia sent out an email that said, I am thinking about creating a program to teach reinvention to other people so I can share what I'm doing and let other people use the tools that I've been using in my work so successfully. Hi, Miguel. It's great to see you. So nice to see you. And so what Sonia did is when she got this email, she had no idea what was going to happen. It became the first Certified Reinvention Practitioner cohort, but she didn't know that that's what it was going to become. It really was a great big experiment, which, you know, we do in reinvention. And so she just raised her hand and said, yes, I will join you and do it. And as a result of raising her hand to say yes, she took the leap and co-founded Reinvention Canada, and really is one of the leaders in Canada in reinvention today. And Sonia, I just wondered if you could share with us first why you said yes. And two, I really would like to learn more about Reinvention Canada and why you decided to co-found it and kind of the evolution of how it started.
Thank you so much, Sherri. That's such a great question. Why people say yes. And it actually is a very simple question. It was a no-brainer for me to say yes. I had been following Nadia for a few years at that point, And like a lot of people have joined her journey along the way through either um, her social media presence or her talks. She was very active at the time as well. So we're talking about 2018, 2019. And, I had been part of some of her programs already at that point, had bought her book, The Titanic Syndrome. And from the very first minute in listening to Nadia, I thought, this is important. I just knew. I said, this is important. This is the future. We need to help more people do this. And I didn't know what this was in terms of the program itself, but I knew it was important. So I sort of listened to my inner voice. And when I got the email and it was like, we have no workbooks, and we have no, we have an idea, but you're going to help us mold it. And I thought, that sounds perfect. That sounds just like how I like to do things. And I love to be part of creation. So it was so easy for me to say yes. And I was so blessed to be part of a group. We were a small group of 10, small and mighty, I want to say. And Danielle Silverman was one of those 10 as well. So the 10 of us met over a span of a few months, right into the start of the pandemic. So I call it perfect timing to be able to learn these reinvention skill set, tool set, mindset to help in what we have experienced as the ultimate destruction. That's the word, not destruction. I forget the word. But moving through chaos, I'm now having all of these tools. And why we founded Reinvention Canada is really important as well. So before we even Danielle Silverman and I joined the first the originals, I think is what Nadia calls them, the first Certified Reinvention Practitioner program. Danielle Silverman and I were trying to get a group of people who in Montreal were also following Nadia at the time. And we tried to get a couple of meetings, live meetings going, and it wasn't happening. So finally, Danielle and I said, I think we're just going to do it. We're going to have our first reinvention breakfast. And we had that in February of 2020. And it was the first and only live event of Reinvention Canada, because we all know what happened after that. And we were able to take the disruption and work with it. And we went online. So at first it was Reinvention Montreal. We started small, little experiment. And then we thought, no, it's not accessible enough if it's just Montreal. So we went across Canada. And we've been running programs for 2 years at Reinvention Canada. And we now have such a beautiful group of Canadian certified reinvention practitioners doing amazing work. And we are so proud of the work that we're doing to try to bring reinvention to as many people as possible, that we have decided to have our third annual Reinvention Canada Summit open to everybody, where certified reinvention practitioners are going to share actual cases of how they've helped clients reinvent in today's disruptive world.
So I was just going to ask you to talk about the summit, so I'm glad that you are. But can you tell us a little bit about the first 2 summits you've had and really what you expect to happen at this summit?
Well, I always like to say that the ideas for things that we want to experiment with are there, and for me, it's to observe and watch Nadia. So in 2020, in March of 2020, Nadia had a summit, a reinvention summit. And that's where Danielle and I said, I think we can have one too. So we follow Nadia and we look at what she does and we try, and of course, other people. So that's part of anticipating reinvention mindset and skill set. And we try to anticipate. So we anticipated the need. And our first summit went in April and May in 2020. was a huge success. We had wonderful guest speakers. We talked about the stories of reinvention to get people ready to reinvent in that time of crisis at the time. And last year, we had our second annual event, which was different in nature, where we supported some small business owners and we helped them use reinvention live. So we had them live in our Reinvention Canada Summit, and we supported them with other consultants and other reinvention practitioners. And so for this year, it's going to be something completely different. We're very excited because Reinvention Canada, at our heart, is community. And we really love to bring people together and support each other. And so this upcoming summit is really to showcase the wonderful work that certified reinvention practitioners are doing in Canada. And everybody's welcome as part of reinvention. So we practice what we preach. We have a link that you see there where you can sign up to see more or less what's going on and why you should register. And this is an interest. So you put your email down and we'll let you know when our reinvention page for sign up is ready to go. Should be in the next couple of days. We're just putting up the final touches for it, where you can register. It's a 3-day summit from June 21st to 23rd. And we are thrilled to have Nadia as our keynote speaker, but we've got some workshops, we've got some case studies and some networking events, and we're really having a good time putting it together with Linda Maslenko and Bonita Gionette and some other wonderful people on our committee.
So I see you're really like walking the talk here of reinvention and just kind of evolving and experimenting as it goes.
Absolutely.
So I love that. And you and Linda and Danielle and Bonita are doing such amazing, amazing work. And so I wonder if you would be willing to share with us. You said you shared a lot of reinvention stories. What is your favorite reinvention story?
Oh boy, my favorite reinvention story. There's so many. There's so many in business, of course, and Nadia does share a lot of those. But I'm going to share my personal reinvention story right now. It's my favorite, so I'll share it. And so I've been working in the field of performance improvement for over 20 years, and I was able to produce a beautiful work of art. Which is my book, which is The Apple in the Orchard, and it's an illustrated book, and it was endorsed by Ken Blanchard, and I love the book so much, and I read it to myself sometimes just to cheer myself up. And it's the story of finding the courage to emerge as a leader, and don't we need a little dose of courage every now and again? So in 2019, I launched my own program for that, and of course, when pandemic hit, boom, I was just like, what do I do with this program? It was live, and how do I transition it? And so with the reinvention skill set and method that Nadia had taught me, I was able to reinvent the program. And we are now in 2 universities bringing this methodology for our future leaders to take the courage to take the leap. And we're bringing this to professionals right now in North America. And the expansion plans are in place to go global. It's a very exciting time. And I consider that a reinvention success story at this point. Every day is a new adventure, because I really didn't know what to do or how to do it or what would happen. And I just took one little step at a time. And that's really important, is to experiment and not be afraid to try something. And then at any one given time, I've got 5 or 6 experiments going, and I've got a whiteboard to keep it all organized. But taking little steps and little experiments is really my number one advice for anybody out there who wants to try something new and wants to bring your full self into the world and work in purpose every day. And I'm grateful for the Reinvention method for helping me do this for myself and for helping me help others do this too.
And I see we have a link here. So you have a free Take the Leap Purpose Lab coming up?
I do.
So tell us about that. That's just for anyone, not just university students, but anybody can join?
Yes. So one of my purpose-led goals is to bring this methodology to 100,000 emerging leaders by 2025. It's big. I know Nadia has her 1 billion mission, which feels big, but this one's big for me as well. And so I thought I can't keep doing this just for small groups. So I've opened this up. This is the third Purpose Lab we're doing this year. And it's 5 days, 1 hour a day over lunchtime Eastern time. So we bring the methodology, there's worksheets, you have to do the work, just like reinvention. It's not a spectator sport. So if you do want to come and join us, it's free and you can sign up, and there's the link there.
Well, thank you. And I actually know several people who have taken the Take the Leap Lab, and they really enjoyed it. It was a really great experience. And you talked about just take small steps. So what are some of the small steps that you took to maybe have your book endorsed by Ken Blanchard? That's a pretty big thing. So how have you taken small steps along the way to really be able to achieve some of the things that you've talked about?
So it really starts with dreaming. We have to be able to have some audacious goals, and I find that the goals need to have two elements to them. One, they need to be exciting, so you need to feel excited about the goal. And the second thing is it has to be completely terrifying. So it has to be exciting and terrifying at the same time. Then you know you've got the right goal for it. It's not terrifying, it just might not be big enough. And so the book itself took 2 years from conception to printing. And once it was getting ready for printing, of course, I knew I needed to get some endorsements, and friends and family probably wasn't going to be enough. So I literally opened up, I went to Ken Blanchard's website, and there's, you know, the standard contact us button in the upper right-hand corner. And I literally just clicked that button and sent a standard, you know, in those forms. I filled out the form and I said, I have a book. I think you might like it. Would love for you to review it. And I got an email within 20 minutes, email response within 20 minutes. And 3 days later, I had an endorsement, which was, you know, I remember that moment when I was sitting there thinking, is this really happening? So the endorsement really helped me understand that I had something special. Although I knew originally, this was really a big confirmation of that. So I think that's a great example of a small step. You know, just do stuff. What's the worst thing can happen? And I keep doing that, and beautiful things keep happening. So I'm going to encourage everybody to take these tiny little steps.
So, wow, thank you for sharing that. I had no idea that that's how you got the endorsement. So that's amazing for both you and Ken Blanchard's team that they respond to those requests. So I love that. And I just wonder if you can tell me, so from there, how have the reinvention method tools and using what you've learned from Nadia really helped you take that to the next level?
Yes, absolutely. And I think one thing that Nadia does really well is she encourages all of us in Reinvention Society, whether you've taken her program or not, she encourages all of us to take these tools and share them. That's part of her 1 billion mission, which I have at my heart as well. And I think that's the number one thing that I would recommend any of us to do, is to pick up her book, which you can see right there. Pick up her book or watch any of her videos or join any of her labs. The methodology, the reinvention method that she shares is very relevant for today. And the beauty of it is that she keeps improving it and sharing new ideas with us relevant to today. So we really do need to be grounded in the reality of today while focusing on the vision for tomorrow. And every day I say that to myself, what have I done today that's grounded in today, but also brings me closer to tomorrow? It's a very important thing that everybody should do on a regular basis. And the one that I took the most was sharing it. So I share the reinvention method with anybody who will listen. I have the honor of teaching at 2 universities here in Montreal, and I integrate the reinvention method in all of those classes, because the students of today are leaders of tomorrow. And emerging leaders is something that also is very near and dear to me. And everybody who is exposed to any of the items with reinvention see its value instantly. It's really something that is instantly familiar and necessary. And there's not one person who says, I don't understand this. It really just is so critical and important for all of us to take these steps and anticipate, design, and implement action items that will take us closer to a thriving tomorrow. And the one thing that I love about this is the question that Nadia keeps asking, which is, how can we bring life into this system? It could be life in our family, life for ourselves, life in our teams, our communities, our organizations, the world. How can we bring life? And I think if that's the question everybody asks themselves, then we're going to have an amazing tomorrow.
I love that. And if anybody has any questions for Sonia while we're talking, if you want to put them in the chat, we'll be sure to ask her the questions for you. But I really love that you're working with today's youth and in the university to really get people grounded in reinvention skills. I know I personally talk to my children a lot about that, in how to incorporate reinvention in what they're doing. And I find that we don't learn a lot of these skills today in school necessarily. We're not really learning how to experiment, how to fail, right? How to fail forward, Lindsay Godwin likes to say, and really make sure that we have these skills that we can use. And so one of the questions I like to ask everyone in reinvention is, what is your favorite tool? And what tool maybe do your students really gravitate towards or like the most? And I would invite anybody listening to put in the comments what your favorite reinvention method tool is.
Well, that's always a very tough question to answer because there's so many of them that I love. But I will choose the Stellar Canvas, which is an implementation tool. And I have a really fun story to share with you. So implementation planning is something that's part and integral of most teaching learning experiences, right? So what do you do at the end of a course? Well, you need to implement what you learned in the future. So I try to include that as much as possible. And I have a beautiful story to share. So I was teaching a class on communication and the innovative process to over 60 engineering master's students. And of course, closer to the end of the semester, they were introduced to implementation and the Stellar Canvas. And what was really interesting about that is I introduced it, and then I had them go and implement it right away. So they actually created their Stellar within the classroom based on the projects they had been working on. And, an hour later, not only did they grasp the concept of the strategic planning process, but they also had a Stellar done within an hour. And when I asked them about this, they said this was the most amazing tool they had ever experienced. They said it was intuitive, it was helpful, and some of them created 2 Stellars within that time period, one for their team and one for their client. And it was so amazing for me to watch this. At the end, one of my teaching assistants came to me and she said, Sonia, I use this back home where I'm from in one of the companies I worked for. We used Stellar back in Iran. And I thought, wow, this is like so beautiful to see that the methodology is indeed spreading and that organizations are using these approaches that bring in a tool like Stellar Canvas, which is based on emergent strategy, which is really about being present in today to see what is happening in the world and bringing in these new ideas into our plan, and not have so much rigidity in our implementation plans, but more flexibility and ranges to meet. It just feels like a more achievable plan. So that's my answer, stellar canvas. And based on all the feedback I've gotten from students, it seems to be the big favorite as well.
Well, Olga had asked, and I feel you did a good job answering it. What is your biggest aha from the reinvention method? So I think that was a really great story. And I know our team has shared here how to download the free 85-page copy of the Reinvention Officer Handbook, the Chief Reinvention Officer Handbook, and Stellar's the last tool. So if you go to the end, it is covered in that for you. But I agree, Stellar's one of my favorite tools. And the reason I like it is because it works both personally for me and in my business. And so I do a lot of different ones. I also do like main Stellars and then little Stellars out of that. So I highly encourage you to take a look at that tool for all the reasons Sonia said, because it is flexible, it's very easy to use, and it gives you a great starting point. So Sonia, you've invited us to your summit, your Reinvention Canada Summit, which I will definitely be there. I'm excited. And you've invited us to take your Take the Leap program, which I know will be amazing. And if we sign up for the program, do we have to attend every single day? Like,
Nope.
what if we're not available one of the days?
Yeah, that's comes part of the design. So it's 5 days, 5 hours, 1 hour a day. And the sessions are recorded, so there's a time limited replay available for you. So you can come when you can. Of course, the community will be there, and we've got some guest speakers as well that will be joining, and some fun stuff. So come if you can, when you can, and you can catch up the other days.
Excellent. Well, I will definitely be there because I want to take the leap, and I've been wanting to do it for a really long time. So I'm glad you talked about it today. And there's a Facebook user out there that said they love the accessible example of Stellar, Sonia. So you see that they're giving you some love here in the chat. So we really, really appreciate you being here as our guest. And is there any last word of wisdom or anything that you would like to share with us today before you leave?
I would like to leave with everybody today that we need hope in our world today. And so reinvention method for me is, as I said, bringing life into the system. And if we have that intention every day, how can I bring life into my conversations, my interactions, my thoughts even with each other? We can really create a beautiful avalanche of goodness in the world. And for me, that's what reinvention method is. And so join us on any reinvention programs, labs, buy the book, tell as many people as you can. This is really just an amazing opportunity to bring life into our systems and our world, which is much needed.
Well, thank you, Sonia. Thank you for being our guest today. We really appreciate you. And for everybody on the broadcast today, you have the information for how you can contact Sonia. And if you would like to do more work with the Reinvention Academy or learn more about our programs, you certainly can see us. We invite you to join the Reinvention Society Facebook group. If you'd like to join on Facebook, we invite you to connect with us here on LinkedIn. We invite you to connect with us on YouTube and leave comments there, or contact us through our website. Our team is putting a lot of information there. And I will tell you, the biggest thing we have coming up is we are doing a scenario planning workshop that's coming up later in this month. And that will be for any of our students in the Certified Reinvention Associate program, the Certified Reinvention Practitioner program, which will begin in November, and our current program, which is just finishing up now, or the Global Alliance of Reinvention Professionals. So thank you for everyone who tuned in today. It was great to see you. Thanks for being here. Thank you, Sonia, for being an amazing guest. And we look forward to seeing you next week, same time on Thursday, for the Reinvention Show. Have a great day.